Welcome to MTG Friends. I'm Ryan. We're going to do a Commander deck tech in a mono-black zombie tribal-esque build with Goulcaller Gisa at the helm. This is a black tap, sacrifice another creature, create X/2/2 black zombie creature tokens where X is the sacrifice creature's power. We have a bunch of sack mechanics in this build. And by the way, next episode, we're going to continue the zombie coolness with the Scarab God. I was enjoying this deck so much, I decided let's put in a blue pip and put Scarab God at the helm so that we can also get one of the newer cards, Necro Duality, in here, which we can't do in mono black. So let's go ahead and go through this build. Thanks for tuning in. I hope this is of help to you and you have fun listening to me babbling on about all sorts of stuff. All right, so let's look through this. Graveyard play, tribal, the basic tribal cards you would expect in any tribal deck. The land package, removal, a short but potent list of removal, a very good amount of ramp because after all, we are in mono black and there is some difficulty ramping up in black, but it's not impossible. We got a couple sack mechanics where we benefit with some +1 life, -1 life, the stuff you'd expect, including the tutors that you expect to see, a few draw pieces, lots and lots of zombies that do fun things, and like I said, we have some sack outlets. This is a fun deck. We have a maybe board in here with other zombies you can swap in and out, other budgetary considerations, but just also some things that didn't quite make the cut. I didn't think synergized enough. All right, so we got what's going on with Goulcaller Gisa. Let's go ahead and go into the graveyard play. So the reanimation spells you'd expect we got in here. You know what? I'm going to make this one size smaller. There we go. Now we got it. Animate dead. Go grab a creature in any graveyard. It gets a -1 power. Grave Betrayal. When another creature you don't control dies, put it on the battlefield under your control with an additional 1/1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. That is important that it's at the beginning. It's not an instant thing. So just keep that in mind. All right, Haunting Voyage. This one almost didn't make the cut because we have an even what I consider a more potent card, but we have two of them in here. So if you foretell it for 2, put it aside, face down, exiled, you can spend 7 on any additional turn to grab all your zombies and put them onto the battlefield. Otherwise, if you just hard cast it for 6, you can do it for 2 creatures. Reanimate, we know what this does. Go grab a creature. Don't forget that you'll lose life equal to its mana value. I actually lost a game in Commander the other day because I couldn't play Reanimate because I only had 2 life left. I was playing Keurig deck. Moving on. That's okay. I took the loss. I took it in stride. And then we went on to the next one. Rise of the Dark Realms. 4/7 colorless black. Yes, it does cost a lot, but it does a lot. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. This is a game winner if it doesn't get countered, if you got lots of stuff that hasn't been Bajuka Bogged and all that kind of craziness. Whip of Erebus, because at some point we're going to wish we had just a little bit more life. Creatures you control have life link. And for 4, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exiled at the beginning of the next end step. Sometimes that is a game winner. If it would leave the battlefield exiled instead of putting it anywhere else, activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Don't forget the sorcery speed on that one. All right, we got some ramp. Like I said, sometimes it's hard to ramp in black, but we're going to give it the old college try. Ashnod's Altar, sacrifice creature, add 2 to your mana pool. And because we have sack outlets, which we'll get to in a moment, this is super helpful for board clear black market because creatures are dying all over the place. Whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on black market at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. Add black for each charge counter on black market. Buddy from one of my play groups, Andrew, he actually had black market out there on like turn 4, and the thing never went away. By the end of it, I think it had like 28, 30 counters on it. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. That thing can get out of hand quick. Charcoal Diamond comes in tapped, add black mana. Crypt Gas, whenever you tap a swamp, you do it for an additional. Nice. It is in the form of a creature, so it can get whack-a-mole, but that's okay. Culling the Weak, sacrifice a creature, add 4 black to your mana pool for 1 pip. Dark Ritual, we all love Dark Ritual in black. For 1, get 3. Expedition Map to go grab our Urborg land, or Cabal Coffers, one of those two. That's specifically why this is in here. Sack it, go grab those utility lands, and we're off to the races. That was so goofy. Ah, yes. I need a little meme for that. Jet Medallion comes in untapped. All black spells cost 1 colorless to play. Magus of the Coffers for 2, add black to your mana pool for each swamp you control. Eosis, Mana Crypt, totally swappable if you have it. If you don't have it, if you do have it, I mean, why wouldn't you run it? You could easily just swap it out for a lesser mana rock or just another swamp. Preferably another mana rock. Soul Ring, and actually you could put in Arcane Signet, I guess, in its place, because we're not running Arcane Signet because we're in mono and we don't really need it. Soul Ring for 2 colorless. All right, we are into zombie action. We're gonna blast through these. A lot of these are really typical high-powered zombies. We're all about tribal, and this is super fun. I think there's maybe 2 non-zombie creatures in here. Don't hold me to that. Other zombie creatures you control get +1. You can exile target creature card from a graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. You're probably not going to be doing the tap mechanic on that. Champion of the Parish. Oh, excuse me. Whew, I got super excited. Also a swappable card, just depending on how you're feeling, how froggy you're feeling. When another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Champion of the Parish. If you get this in early game, even early to mid game, this thing can become absolutely gigantic, especially if there isn't a board clear. But it's a pretty cool card. You could easily swap this one out if you wanted to, since we have a lot of sack mechanics. Custody Leash 5 drop 4/2. When it comes into the battlefield, you become the Monarch, which means, of course, you can draw a card at the end of the turn if you're still the Monarch. I love that part. Whenever you become the Monarch, target player sacrifices a creature. Even better. Death Baron, skeletons and zombies get +1/+1, and Death Touch. Death Touch is nice. Diregraph Colossus, it only costs 3, which I think makes this a very playable zombie card. Colossus enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for each zombie card in your graveyard. Early on, it doesn't become very big, but it is a zombie and it does synergize. Whenever you cast a zombie spell, create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token. That is awesome. Draugr Necromancer. So there are 2 snow permanents in this build. And then we have snow basic lands for black swamps. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile that card with an ice counter on it instead. You may cast spells from among cards in exile your opponents own with ice counters on them, and you may spend mana from snow sources as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So if you don't want to run the couple snow permanents we have in here, including Haven, the land, then you could easily swap this out for another zombie. I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's hilarious to be able to go grab stuff. It does counteract the couple reanimate spells we have, but you know what? You just play the board, you play your hand, and you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine, I tell you. Endless Ranks of the Dead for 4. At the beginning of your upkeep, put X/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is half the number of zombies you control rounded down. So long as you don't have a Damnation or a Wrath of God or a complete exile of the board, this is going to go real wide, real quick. Geth Lord of the Vault for 6. It does cost about 1 pip more than I'd like it to. It's a 5/5 drop with Intimidate. Creatures can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that are black. X black, put target artifact or creature card with converted mana cost X from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control tapped. Whew, that's a lot of words. Then that player mills X cards. This by no means is a mill deck. That's just sort of a little added benefit, hilarious. So maybe we can target a Reanimate spell onto something spicy. God Eternal Bantu for that sack mechanic, and it lets us draw. We don't have a ton of draw mechanics. This one's doing double duty, draw, and also sack mechanic. When it enters the battlefield, sack any number of permanents, then draw that many cards. So if we have 5 zombies, sack 5 zombies, trigger our sack abilities, go grab 5 cards. Not too shabby. And when it dies, you can put it, third from the top? Third from the top in your library. Grave Titan, one of the big dogs of zombies. It's got Death Touch, and it comes in with 2/2/2 black zombie creature tokens. And whenever it attacks, it makes 2/2/2 zombies as well. Hilarious. It's great. The only thing that sucks about Grave Titan is when it gets stolen from you and then they swing at your face with it. That sucks. Grave, can you tell that's happened to me before? Grave Crawler can't block. You may cast Grave Crawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. So if we have Carrion Feeder out there, we can, as long as we got the mana, we can start doing Carrion Feeder, Grave Crawler, sack, bring it back, sack, big. Suddenly Carrion Feeder is Gigantosaurus Rex, and hopefully we're swinging for lethal. Swinging for lethal, yo! We do have a couple alt win conditions in here as well. Gray Merchant of Asphodel, Gary. Quite contrary, this thing is awesome. We are all in devotion to black. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, and we get X life for each opponent. Don't forget, so if it's only 4 pips in black, that means 4, 4, 4. Or if we're playing against 4 others, that's 4 times 4. Yeah, there you go. What? Headless Writer, I love this, and it's like a super cheap card. Headless Writer, whenever Headless Writer or another non-token zombie you control dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So, if you have a board wipe, and you got this bad boy out, you're at least getting 1 2/2 black zombie, but most likely you're getting a plethora of zombies, so you can swing and smack a biatch. I don't know, man. Bitch isn't a swear word, so it's all good. Liliana, Death's Majesty. Holy moly, I keep wanting to cough. It's a 5-drop. We have very few planeswalkers, and I typically don't run a lot of planeswalkers in builds unless they have some great utility for the mechanics in the deck. This one has great utility for what we're doing. It's 5-drop. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, mill 2 cards. That is our uptick. Our downtick, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. I mean, they're going to be zombies anyways. And for 7, destroy all non-zombie creatures. That thing is so self-explanatory. So is Liliana, Dread Horde General. I remember drafting, and if anybody ever got this thing, typically they were winning, although it is a 6-drop. Whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. Double duty, we get some draw. And for its uptick, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. It's downtick for 4, which we can do immediately when it hits the board. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. So if you think about it, they sack, we sack, and then triggers of our sack mechanics if we have those enchantments out, which we'll get to in a moment. I think you already know which ones I'm going to talk about. Each opponent, it's ultimate. Each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifice the rest. You are most likely not going to be ultimating this bad boy, bad girl. Lord of the Undead. It's 3. All zombies get +1/+1, and for 2, tap, return target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. Excellent. Macaeus the Unhallowed. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Other non-human creatures you control get 1/1. So, and it's got Undying. That is awesome. And that's all of your creatures. So, if you get a board wipe, the Undying happens as long as they don't have a +1/+1 counter on it, and then you get to return it to the battlefield. That's why this card is so great. Noxious Ghoul. I just love this hilarious artwork. Whenever Noxious Ghoul or another zombie comes into play, all non-zombie creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. So if you have more than one come in, that means that it's -1/-1, then another -1/-1. So in a way, it is a board wipe capable card, depending on how many zombies you drop in that particular turn. It is a 5-drop though, so late game you might be able to drop all sorts of stuff. Phyrexian Crusader, I just love the fact that this thing has Infect. Totally swappable card, by the way. Just if you don't have it, you don't want to drop the $30 as of this recording to get it, you could easily swap it out. It's just cool. First strike, protection for red and from white, and it's a 2/2, which is why it could possibly be swapped out, because we're not doing Infect decks here. But if you got it, run it. It's fun. And it could get super big depending on if we got Door of Destinies and a couple of the other cards we're going to talk about in a moment. This thing could end up being a lethal with one hit, depending on the situation. Ravenous Rotbelly for 5. 4/5 when Ravenous Rotbelly enters the battlefield, you may, which means you choose, to sack up to 3 zombies. If you do, each opponent sacrifices that many creatures. More sack mechanics. Relentless Dead. It's got menace. Whenever it dies, you can pay 1. If you do, return it to your owner's hand. Whenever Relentless Dead dies, you may pay X. If you do, return another target zombie creature card with converted mana cost X from graveyard to battlefield. Great utility. Great card. Put it in. Put it in, put it in, put it in. Risen Executioner for 4. Can't block. Zombies get +1. And you can return it from your graveyard if you pay 1 more to cast it for each other creature card in your graveyard. So depending on how many creatures you got, this could actually become very expensive to play. But it is great because it gives all your zombies +1. Rot Hulk, I love this card. It's a 7-drop menace. I think it's only had 1 printing, which is why it's probably more expensive than you'd expect. 7-drop menace. When Rot Hulk enters the battlefield, return up to X target zombie cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of opponents you have. So assuming you have 3 other opponents, you gotta go grab 3 other zombies. Hell's bells, yeah. Shepherd of Rot. You gotta play this one carefully. Each player loses 1 life for each zombie on the battlefield. So you look at the board state, and you could be a game-winning ending with tapping this bad boy. Just don't kill yourself at the same time. You know. Undead War Chief for 4. Zombie spells cost 1 less to cost, and zombies you control get +2/+1. Vindictive Leash. I think it's Leash. When Vindictive Leash dies, choose 1 or more. Each mode must target a different player. Sacrifice a creature, discards 2 cards, loses 5 life. Great utility. Totally swappable card. Wand of Orcus for 3. Whenever equipped creature attacks or blocks, which I love the fact that it's or blocks, it and zombies you control gain death touch until end of turn. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Hilarious and awesome. Zombie Master for 3. All zombies in play gain Swamp Walk, which is why we have Urberg. So everything will have Swamp Walk because everybody will have swamps. You can regenerate for as long as this card remains in play. That is some old school text right there. There's a bunch of different versions. I think the newer version says Zombie, Summon Lord. No, those versions say Summon Lord. All right, some just straight up standard tribal cards, coat of arms. Each zombie gets +1 for each other zombie. These can get really big. This is a dangerous card. It can be easily swapped out for something else, like Vanquisher's Banner or something like that. So just hope that you aren't running against like slivers or something, because otherwise those slivers are gigantic as well. So it affects the whole board state. So just be careful when you play that. Door of Destinies only affects your creatures, zombies in this situation. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, put a charge counter on Door of Destinies, and each charge counter gives it a +1/+1 for each other charge counter, thus making your shizzle gigantic as well. Herald's Horn, this one is more about getting stuff out and being able to draw more. Creature spells cost one less, one colorless less to cast. And at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it in your hand. Blood on the Snow, the second of 3 snow permanents in this build. As of this recording, this is actually in standard play. For 6, destroy all creatures, destroy all planeswalkers, then return a creature or planeswalker card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast this spell. That is a fabuloso card in this kind of a build. And look, it looks like a zombie in there. Is that a zombie? I think that's a zombie. If it's not a zombie, it should be. Call to the Grave, some removal now as well. Well, I guess we already had removal because Blood of the Snow on the Snow is removal. Call to the Grave for 5. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-zombie creature. At the beginning of the end step, if no creatures are on the battlefield, sacrifice Call to the Grave. So this is a nice just keep it going, keep it going. Somebody's going to try to get rid of Call to the Graves as quickly as they can. Damnation to destroy everything if we need that. Much needed reset button. Kindred Dominance if we don't want a reset button, but we want to remove everything else. The black version of Cyclonic Rift, I guess, although Cyclonic Rift would send it back into their hands. This one just flat out whack-a-moles everything. Choose a creature type. Destroy all creatures that aren't of the chosen type. Corpse Harvester for 2 tap. Sack a creature. Search your library for a zombie card and a swamp. Reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. And then we got some tutors, the ones you'd expect to see. Demonic Tutor, go grab a card, put it in your hand for 2. Diabolic Intent, sack a creature, do the same thing. Vampiric, put it on top of your library. I don't think you have to reveal it. Vampiric Tutor, nope, you don't have to reveal it. Put it on top of it, lose 2 life. All right, a little bit more categories. We got some sack mechanics. Oh, and by the way, if you want a couple more tutors, we have a few in the maybe board that can be swapped in if you so desire. Carrion Feeder, like we were saying earlier, sack a creature, put a 1/1 counter on Carrion Feeder. If it's swinging, this thing can get super duper gigantic. Dictate of Erebus with flash. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. The 5-drop of Grave Pact. Then we got Grave Pact. Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. Sidisi Undead Vizier. Death Touch. Exploit. When it exploits, you can search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. This does create the sack mechanic and does have double duty of tutoring for us. So this could actually be in either category. Tomb Tyrant for 4. Other zombies get +1/+1. And for 3, tap, sack a creature. More sack mechanic. Return a zombie creature card at random from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only during your turn and only if you are there are at least 3 zombie creature cards in your graveyard. Which, as long as we didn't get Bajuka Bogged or something, we should have that many. All right, we're going to blast through the land package. It's very straightforward. Ancient Tomb, tap it, pay 2 life, and get 2 mana. Colorless. Cabal Coffers, add black for each swamp you control for 2. This is one we'll go fetch if we need with Expedition Map. Cavern of Souls, so our zombies can't be countered. Crypt of Agadim does come in tapped, and you know how much I hate coming in tapped lands, but this one's strong enough that it's okay. Tap for black mana, or for 2, add black to your mana pool for each black creature card in your graveyard. Like I was saying, Faceless Haven, we got 3 snow permanents in here. For 3 snow, Faceless Haven becomes a 4/3 creature with vigilance and all creature types, including zombies, by the way. Nykthos Shrine, this is a devotion one. Tap 2, add to your color mana pool the amount of devotion you got. Phyrexian Tower, so we can also do some sack creatures, and as a benefit, get 2 black pips to your mana pool. And we are running 22, count them, 22 snow swamps. And again, if you want to swap out those 3 snow permanents, then just put in basic swamps. Unholy Grotto, very zombie specific. Black, tap, put target zombie card from your graveyard on top of your library. Like I was saying, Urberg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, so we can have some Swamp Walk. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other land types. War Room, just for that extra draw ability. For 3, pay life equal to the number of colors, which is 1 in this instance, to draw a card. Westvale Abbey. I love this card. Since we are likely going to have at least 5 creatures, we can pay 5, sack 5 creatures, transform this land into a 9/7 flying indestructible hasting lifelink beater that is just awesome. Flippin' awesome. Awesome, I say. All right, Blood Artist. Whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. We all understand why this is in here, right? Just like Zulaport Cutthroat. Whenever Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So not quite as cool as Blood Artist, but still pretty cool. Graveborn Muse for draw. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of zombies you control. Be very, very careful with this card. I almost cut it just because if we are super wide, this could kill us for the game. So just be careful with this card. That's all I'm saying, yo. That's all I'm saying. Because there isn't a ton of life gain in here. There is some, but not a ton. Necropotence. So you can easily swap this out for Phyrexian Arena if, one, you don't have Necropotence, or if you would prefer not to run Necropotence. But we are in mono black. This is a great card. Skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Most importantly, pay 1 life. Exile the top card of your library face down. Put that card into your hand at the beginning of your next end step. And remember, you can do that anytime before your next end step. Groovy? Groovy, y'all. Oh, we did leave Vanquisher's Banner in here. Couldn't remember if this made the cut. As it comes in, you choose zombies. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. More importantly, when you cast a zombie, you draw a card. Because we need a little bit of draw mechanics going on. I've got a little bit of it. All right, Goulcaller Gisa. This is, like I said, fun, y'all. Fun, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to do zombie tribal-esque in blue-black. And it's going to be fun. I think the zombie theme is awesome. And as of this recording, I think Kawigama Neon is coming in. So if you want me to do any episodes about that kind of stuff, just let me know. And I will accommodate. Thanks for tuning in.